If the beauty of nature is something we respect, then keeping it that way may be the least it deserves. As the tide of consumption continues to encroach, it's not only what's in the bottle that matters, but having the bottle to deal with it. Last year alone, we used almost 500,000 tons of plastic bottles in the UK. A lot of waste, and more than enough to drown a stadium. Well, not only our own, but a foreign one perhaps, because we exported over half our used bottles for somebody else to drown theirs. And seeing that we didn't have sufficient bottles for new products and drinks, we then imported over 50 million new plastic bottles to make up for the ones we just discarded. And then we discarded them. Year in, year out, we use more and more resources, mostly oil in the case of plastic, which involves more fumes, more plumes, and we expect our kids and their kids to tidy up. And that's why WRAP, the Waste and Resources Action Programme, has launched a new initiative in conjunction with JFC Delieve to recycle, reuse and respond to the need of an endangered environment.
We use roughly around 460,000 tonnes of plastic bottles every year. That's 20,000 bottles per tonne. You can see that's an awful number of bottles. And yet our recycling of plastic bottles was something like 2–3%, something like this. Very, very low, certainly compared with our European neighbours. So one of the things that WRAP very quickly identified was that this was unacceptably low and really needed to be worked on.
In operation since 1964, Liverpool-based JFC Delieve recycled 1,000 tonnes of waste plastic bottles last year. And now, in association with WRAP, it set up the first high-volume plastic bottle recycling facility in the UK. Using a high-tech engineering process, the collected bottles are debaled and entered into the conveyor system, where they're first sorted into their respective colours and freed of paper, hard caps and wrapping.
It's state-of-the-art infrared technology that we use to separate the polymers and colours, the bottles, and that's widely used throughout Europe and in the States as well. So we're at the same level of European and international countries in terms of bottle separation and recycling.
Once sorted, the material is washed to remove any residue. It then passes into the granulator, and once completed, it's ready to be extruded, batched, and transported back into the manufacturing cycle. It's a new lease of life for the plastic bottle and a breath of fresh air for the environment. The bottles end up back in their raw form and as close to nature as they will ever be. They're broken down into what's called high-density polyethylene, or HDPE, and polyethylene terephthalate, or PET for short. But the quality of the inputs is vital to the operation.
What we're trying to educate the public in doing is just concentrating on bottles. The term that we're trying to use, if it's not a bottle, don't put it in. So if it's a sandwich box, if it's a calculator, if it's an Action Man or a kid's toy, don't put them in. It's not what we're looking for. We really want drinks bottles.
Often PET flake goes into the lining of cars or ends up on the dashboard as its decorative surface. But PET also rubs shoulders with big brand names as the non-woven quality fibre that goes into fleeces and jackets, giving them that all-important layer of insulation, essential for winter days. The HDPE, or pellet material, goes on to JFC Delieve's Stratford operation, where it's reprocessed and reborn as agricultural piping and film, and more frequently returns to the earth as essential drainage pipe on large-scale motorway construction. However, the support of the public is also an essential ingredient in the recycling process.
It's vitally important that what each scheme requires from the householders is communicated effectively, and the householders are encouraged, one, to participate, to actually set material out in their curbside boxes or take bottles to bring banks, but then to comply with the instructions that they're given. So if schemes require the caps to be taken off, then the caps are taken off. If the bottle should be rinsed out, and generally just to try and make things easy as possible for the recyclers.